Hi, my name is Ken Bercier from Kenko. I'm a manufacturer's rep in the lawn and garden industry. I've been doing that for the last 27 years, but for the last 35 years I've been in the turf industry. A long time ago I worked for a company called Seacoast Labs. I was the plant manager and we manufactured all kinds of different granular pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, insecticides, crabgrass preventers. You name it, back then we used to manufacture it. So I've been involved with this for a long time. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about turf fertilizer. More specifically, ag versus turf fertilizer. The ag business, they don't care about the size particle. Turf, it is very important. When you broadcast the fertilizer, if your urea, the nitrogen, is a bigger particle, it's going to go further, so therefore you're going to have what's called particle separation and streaking. So when you're picking out who you're buying fertilizer from, make sure they are turf manufacturers. Bob Bolkowski at Reed and Perrine spends hours, and he spent years buying raw materials and buying the right size raw materials. The ag business is 97% of the total fertilizer used in the world. Turf is only 3%. So the actual fertilizer manufacturers don't care as much about the turf industry. The size particle, SGN, size guide number, basically in the turf industry you have a 90, a 150, 220, 90s golf greens, 150s golf fairways, and all the other turf is a 220 SGN. Very important. Next thing, I'm always getting questions asked, how many square feet does the bag cover? And I always say the same thing, well that depends. And they go, what does it depend on? I go, it depends on how much nitrogen you want to use per 1,000 square feet. The full rate of nitrogen is 1 pound, but you can use anywhere from ½ pound of nitrogen per 1,000 up to 1 pound. The way you figure that out, it's pretty easy. You take a 50-pound bag and say it's a 20-0-5. It's 20% nitrogen. 50 times 20%, 0.2 comes out to 10. So therefore, you have 10 pounds of nitrogen in that fertilizer, and so therefore it does 10,000 square feet. Okay, if you want to put down ½ pound of nitrogen, you're going to cover 20,000 square feet. More specifically, so now you're going to put down a 50-pound bag over 10,000. So you're actually putting down 5 pounds of the total material per 1,000 square feet. So that's how you find out how much you're putting down. Most bags have suggested spreader settings, and remember that they're suggested. There's a lot of variations in them, how fast the person's walking behind it, how old the spreader is, and so on. So that's square foot. Now I'm going to get more into raw materials. Okay? Basically the macronutrients, NPKs, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Urea runs the nitrogen business. It's a 4600, okay? 4600. There are also a lot of people blend with a ammonium sulfate. Ammonium sulfate's a 2100 with a 24% sulfur. Sulfur really gives you a dark green color. The NP, the phosphorus. Most states in our area here have banned phosphorus except when you're seeding. Okay, so the phosphorus is called DAP, diammonium phosphate. It's an 18460. It actually has 2 nutrients. It has a nitrogen and the phosphorus. That's DAP. And the last one is potassium, NPK. Potassium, okay? That's there's 2 basically potassiums that most fertilizer companies bring in. There's muriate of potash, okay, that's a 0062, and there's sulfate of potash, which is a 0050. Sulfate obviously has sulfur in it. Again, it's the green up. But sulfate of potash is quite a bit more expensive, so most people use muriate of potash. All right, so those are the NPKs. All fertilizers have fillers in it. Well, except if you do like a triple 19. Triple 19 has no fillers in it. 18-24-12 has a little bit of fertilizer. When you add up the three nutrients, the lower the number, the more filler that's in it. So I want to talk a little bit about fillers, which I also call it additives. Okay, The main one that everybody uses in the fertilizer industry is very inexpensive, is called Grandol. It's a piece of lime rock which really has no nutritional value. But over the last 10 plus years, Reed and Perrine's been blending with a product called Ocean Grow, which is a biosolid. Okay, many of you have heard of Milorganite. Ocean Grow is the same, but it comes out of Toms River, New Jersey. Very nice prill, low odor, has some nutritional value. It has a micronutrient package, and it has beneficial bacteria in it. So that's Ocean Grow. There's also a product called Humic DG. It's a humic acid. Very good product, very expensive to put it in, but what humic acid does is it helps to release the bound up nutrients that's in the soil. So it's not only aiding in the nutrients you're putting down, but it aids in releasing what's bound up in the soil. Okay, so that's Humic DG. We have the ability to mix with iron, green without growth. Okay, we have the ability to we can put a micronutrient package in there, and we can just put dolomitic pelletized lime in there for you. Fairly inexpensive if you want to put down lime with your fertilizer. So those are some of the additives. With some of the laws that are happening, I've heard that the Metro New York area may be reducing the amount of nitrogen you could put in a bag to 12%. If that happens, I can put some additives in there, and it should be no problem. Especially what I was thinking is that you make it a 12% nitrogen, and you just put it down heavier. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about slow release nitrogens. Most important thing in the turf industry. You have XCU. It's a urea, the nitrogen, with a poly, a sulfur, and another poly. Very good product. That's a 4300. You have XRT. We just brought that in. It's another form of polysulfuric urea, but that's a 4400. That has a new epoxy polymer that does not break down. Basically, it gets released through osmotic diffusion as the temperatures go up. Really good form of slow release nitrogen. We have Neutralene, 4000. Neutralene's a methylene urea. It gets released from 4 to up to 16 weeks, so you're getting a really long feeding. There's the duration products. We have a duration 45, duration 90, duration 120. We stock those. Those are a little bit expensive, but a very good product. And the last thing is a product called Uflex. That's a stabilized nitrogen. Okay, stabilized nitrogens basically is not technically a slow release, but it is. What do I mean by that? The nitrogen gets released, it goes into the soil. There is a uranase inhibitor and a nitrification inhibitor, which basically makes it not go up into the atmosphere and not leach out. It stays at the root zone, and the turf cannot absorb it for 6 to 8 weeks. So that's stabilized nitrogen. It's Uflex. We can customize any type of fertilizer for you. We do a lot of custom blending. If you need your special formula, it's only a 5 pallet minimum. You tell me what you want, I formulate it on my computer, give you a price, and if that's good with you, we can make that up for you. We can put your name on the label if you like. There's a lot of things we can do for you. We can even get you bags, your own bags with your logo on it and stuff. So we do a lot of custom blending. But we do have a couple stock products which I recommend going through the summer here. We have a product, a 50-pound 20-0-5, 30% slow. It has Uflex and XCU in it, and 5% iron, a good amount of iron in that. Great product. We have a 50-pound 24-05, 40% slow and 3% iron. Another great product. Both of those have, the biosolids in it. Those are products we can stock that you can get real fast, but you can also get as little as you want. So thank you very much for listening to me today, and have a good one.